Hello, my name's Jessica Flowers. Welcome to Smell the Flowers Yoga, where I invite you to slow down and learn to enjoy simple pleasures like smelling the flowers. Today I have for you a gentle flow class. We'll start on the ground for a bit, kind of like easing into moving our body. We'll do a few of the movements that then eventually will transition to working on from a standing position. So we'll get a little bit of practice with improving balance and coordination, taking that from the ground to standing. And then we'll come back down to the ground for the end of practice, just to build in a little bit more strengthening for the back and kind of doing some twists and things that will help us calm our nervous system back down after we do the little bit more intense standing practice. But whatever you choose to join me for today, know that I will give you options. Feel free to take whatever option works best for you and your body, including if that's a different option than what I am doing, because I'm just here as a guide. This is really your practice. So we'll get started in seated, like I mentioned. Just come to a comfortable seat, simple crossed legs. Just having your hands maybe resting on your thighs or just comfortably in your lap. I invite you to soften or close down your eyes. Just taking a moment to center yourself here. Just tuning into your breath, slowly moving in and out through your nose. And letting go of anything that happened before your practice today, anything else you may have to do the rest of the day. Just knowing that for this time that we have together, there's nowhere else you need to be, nothing else that you need to be doing. Now I invite you to blink your eyes open, and we're just going to start with a little gentle neck stretching. So you might just start by turning your head from side to side, kind of slowly scanning the room with your eyes as you move around. Pausing at any point where maybe you feel a little bit of tension, a little bit of stuckness in your neck, you might just gently rock back and forth through that area. And just noticing as you look around your room, orienting yourself to this space. Later, as we come to standing, and particularly as we practice some balancing, it's really helpful to have oriented yourself so you know where you are in your space. And this orienting response can also help you feel more safe in your space, wherever it is. Whether you're at home or you're practicing at some point, if you go back out and practice in a yoga studio, just take this time to kind of acquaint yourself with your space. And then we'll open this up a little bit more, so you can bring one hand up, and then as you turn, maybe you follow your fingers around and just open up a little bit more to your spine. You can bring that hand back onto your chest area as you open up to the other side, and just alternating back and forth, making the movement through your spine a little bit bigger, but not coming into your maximal twist. We're just warming up here. Later on, we'll have the opportunity to get into a little bit deeper twists. Maybe one more time to each direction. And then coming back to center, just both hands over your heart. Maybe you close your eyes down again. And just take a moment to check in. Maybe see if there's an intention that you would like to have for your practice today, something that you might want to cultivate more of. Perhaps kindness, compassion, patience, or focus. Maybe one of those words or something else resonates with you. Just take a moment to check in. And then you can lower your hands down as if you're offering that intention to the earth. And then we'll switch the cross of our legs. So bringing your other leg forward, resettling your sitting bones. We're just going to inhale, arms up, and exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, just come up halfway, leaving your hands on the ground, and then exhale, fold forward again. And then you can begin to walk your hands over to the right. I'll walk mine over to the left so it looks like we're going the same direction. Maybe you stack your left hand on top of your right. Just opening up through that left side of your body. As you breathe in, feel the air in your lungs expand the space between your ribs. Feel that air expanding to the front and the back and the side of your body. And then walking your hands back through center, we'll just go over to the other side. So you're moving over to your left. And maybe you stack your right hand on top of your left. Both sitting bones should still be grounded on the earth. So if your right side has come up, just walk your hands back a little bit. Breathing into that right side of your body, feeling your ribs expand as your lungs fill with air. Expanding to the front, the back, the side. And then walking your hands back through center. You can inhale all the way up and then exhale. Let your hands come down onto your thighs. We're just going to do, or kind of resting over your knees, we're going to do a little bit of seated cat-cow to warm up the spine and this flexion and extension. So as you inhale, you can kind of bring your chest forward, arching your spine to the front. And as you exhale, tuck your chin in and round your back towards the back side of the room. Inhaling, arching your spine forward. Exhale, tucking your chin, rounding your back. And just a few more times, flowing like that. And then coming back to center. From here, we're going to move on to our knees, but maybe you just stop there and you just have this short seated practice for today. We've done several things already, connecting our breath to our movement. We've moved the spine in all the different directions, opening up through the lateral, doing a little gentle twist, as well as forward and backward flexion and extension. If you'd like to join me for a little bit more, we'll inhale, arms up overhead, and then you can just drop them down onto the ground in front of you. Kind of grip in with your hands and then rock yourself up to tabletop. From here, we're just going to do that cat-cow motion a little bit more with our spine from tabletop. So as you inhale, you can bring your chest between your arms a little bit, dropping your belly down. And as you exhale, tucking your chin, rounding your spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, dropping down. Exhale, rounding up. A few more times like that. And then we're going to take this motion and move it a little bit more. So as you exhale this time, you tuck your chin, round your back. You're going to set your forearms down onto the ground and set your hips back towards your heels. And then as you inhale, glide your chest forward, getting that belly dropping down a little bit. You can feel that cow type motion as you come back up to tabletop. And then we'll start with that rounding as you sit back to a child's pose. And then inhale, gliding forward. And just at your own breath, we'll do that a few more times. You should feel sort of a wave-like flow moving through your spine. All right, then coming back to tabletop, we'll start to work a little bit into our balance here while we're still nice and close to the ground. So it's a very safe way to start to begin to work with your balance. We're just going to inhale, lift the left leg behind you and your right arm out in front. And then as you exhale, slowly draw your right elbow in towards your left knee. And inhale back out, going nice and slow, feeling where you are in space. This sense of where you are in space, called proprioception, is very important for developing a better sense of balance and coordination. One more time, drawing in and then inhaling to extend back out. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. Just know if you're wobbling, you're working. Your body is trying to figure that out. And it's developing this map of your body, where you are. And then you can set your right hand, your left knee back down. We'll just do that with the other side now. So as you inhale, extending left arm, right leg. As you exhale, drawing knee to elbow and inhaling back out. Exhale, knee to elbow. A few more times, just go at your own pace. And next time you extend out, we'll stay here. Maybe as you inhale, you lift up a little bit more. And as you exhale, relax a little. All right, and setting your left hand, your right knee back down. Great work there. All right, now you can keep your right knee on the ground, your right hand on the ground. You're just going to extend your left leg long, coming onto the side of your foot. Your toes kind of pointed towards the edge of your mat. And then you're just going to inhale your left arm up. And then maybe you reach it over your ear, arching your ribs up towards the ceiling, coming into a modified side plank. If you like, you could send your right leg out long next to your left. Or just breathe into the left side of your body here, feeling that stretch all the way from your toes to the tips of your fingers. Nice long line of energy. And then setting your left leg, your left knee back down. Maybe just shake that out a little bit. And we'll come in to the other side. I'm just going to turn around so I'm facing the camera, but you can stay right where you are. Just going to keep your left hand down, left knee down. Send your right leg back, coming onto the sole of your foot, your toes pointed to the edge of your mat. And as you're ready, just inhale your right arm up And then reaching over your ear, arching your ribs up towards the ceiling, feeling that stretch all along the right side of your body. Taking a few more breaths here. And then setting your right hand down, your right knee back down. Maybe doing a little shaking, a little wiggling. We're going to add on to that flow where we did with the tabletop and the child's pose. So starting with your tabletop, as you exhale, you're going to round your back up towards the ceiling, sit your hips back, setting your forearms down. We'll inhale back to tabletop, and then this time, if you like, you could go back to a child's pose, or you could tuck your toes under, lift your knees up, setting your hips high and back, coming into a downward facing dog, and just kind of pedal it out here. This is our first downward facing dog. Can be a little bit shorter. A little pedaling out your feet, easing your heels down towards the mat, pressing in through your hands, all around the edges of your hands, and gazing back towards your toes. And then we'll inhale back forward to tabletop. And you can go through that flow a few more times. So maybe exhaling back to a child's pose, inhaling forward to a tabletop, exhaling to downward facing dog. Inhaling to tabletop, exhaling to child's pose. Inhale to tabletop, exhale to downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, we're just going to walk forward to the front of the mat. And we'll come up to standing, or to halfway lift, and then forward fold again. And this time you'll inhale all the way up, and then exhale, hands through heart center, just dropping your hands down by your side, coming into your mountain pose or Tadasana. Just taking a moment here to settle into standing after that ground practice. You might squeeze your fists a little bit or do a little bit of shaking, particularly if you get lightheaded at all with that transition. And then just settle in here, check in with yourself. How's your body feel? Your breath? Your nervous system? We're going to get ready to ease our way into a more traditional flow sequence. So we'll inhale, arms up, exhale to fold. You can plant your hands, step back to a plank, and then we're just going to lower all the way down to the mat. Bringing your hands right under your shoulder area next to your chest. Move my blocks out of the way. And your elbows are pointed back towards the back of your mat. Your forehead can be down to start. Then pressing into the tops of your feet, lift your kneecaps up, engaging the backside of your body. And then as you inhale, you can rise up into a baby cobra. And then exhale, lower back down. Let everything relax. And then as you inhale, lift back up again, just easing the back side of the body a little bit more. And exhale back down. One more time, lifting up, and we'll stay here for a few breaths. You might challenge yourself, maybe lift your hands up off the mat. And then we'll exhale back down. You can tuck your toes under here and maybe coming through a tabletop, press back to your downward facing dog. And then you can walk, step, or jump up to the top of your mat. We'll exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward, plant your hands. You're gonna step back with your feet coming into your plank again and lower halfway or all the way down. You can press up into cobra or maybe all the way up into upward facing dog. And then you could tuck your toes under, coming into downward facing dog. And then you can step or walk or jump to the top of your mat. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And then inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, hands through heart center. And then just letting your hands settle back down by your side, coming back into your mountain pose. So that there would be a more traditional flow. You have the option as we move through our standing sequences to do either that gentler flow with the tabletop to child's pose, tabletop down dog, or child's pose, or that more traditional flow. Just keep that in mind as we move on. We're going to get ready to do a little bit of balance. I'm going to ease you into this warrior one that we're going to do in just a moment. We'll start by just stepping the feet a little bit wider, and you're going to raise your right arm. I'll do my left, your right arm and your left knee. And then you're just going to lower that arm, lower that foot. You might bend into your knees a little bit and then raise the opposite arm and knee. And exhaling back down, inhaling to lift. Exhale, lowering back down. Inhale, left arm, right knee. Exhale, back down. Right arm, left knee. And back down. A few more times at your own breath, your own pace. Trying to slow down as much as you can. When we slow down, that gives our body time to feel where we are in space. Okay, next time you come up, we'll just stay here. It doesn't matter what side you're on. You might bring both arms up and then just challenge yourself a little bit more and maybe do some circles with your ankle or extend your leg out long. Just a few breaths here. And you can set that foot back down and then just come on to the other side. Maybe circles with your ankle or extending the leg out long. All right, nice work. That was just kind of setting us up for this different warrior one that we're going to do today. So coming to the top of your mat, you can have your right foot forward. Just step back with your left foot. You're going to bend into your right knee. Your knee should be kind of aligned with the second and third toe and just over your ankle. It doesn't matter if your thigh is completely level or not. And your left foot comfortably back. Just find a nice width for you. Your hips are more or less pointed towards the front of the mat. You might draw your right femur back in a little bit. Maybe you have to adjust your back foot when you do that. And then just inhale your arms up, coming into your warrior one. Just breathe into this, maybe reaching up towards the sky, gathering that energy from the universe. Maybe you recall your intention that you set for your practice. And then you can drop your right arm down. We're going to come up onto our right foot as we lift our left, just like we were just doing standing, but a little bit more effort here. So as you're ready, shift into your right foot, lift your left knee and your right arm. And then as you exhale, you'll reverse your arm, set your left foot back down, warrior one legs, and then inhaling back up, exhaling down. One more time, up and down. And then we'll come up and we'll stay here. So you might bring your left arm up as well, just like we were doing a moment ago. But we're going to add on here, you can begin to tip forward and send your left foot back. Touch it down if you need to, no problem. And if you feel more comfortable, you might do this towards a wall. So you could have your hands on the wall as you send your left leg back, coming into warrior three. A few breaths here. And then you can set your left foot down, coming up to warrior one more time. And then exhale your hands forward. You might step your left foot back a little bit more, come up onto your toes. And then keeping your left hand planted, just raise your right arm up to a twisted lunge. And setting your right hand back down, you can step your left foot up to meet your right. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. You can step back to a plank or a tabletop and just go through one of those flow sequences. I'm going to do the gentler flow this time. We'll meet up in downward facing dog. And then stepping forward or jumping. We'll inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And hands to heart center. I'm just going to turn around so you can stay where you are. This time we'll have left foot forward, right foot back. Coming into warrior one legs, your right toes turn out to the side a little bit. Check the alignment of your left knee, maybe drawing that left femur back in, getting your hips aligned to the front of your mat. And then as you're ready, rising your arms up to your warrior one. And we'll get ready to move into that moving warrior. You can drop your left arm down. And then as you're ready, you'll shift your weight into your left foot. And we're going to reverse our arms as we bring our right knee up in front of us. And exhale, setting it back down, reversing the arms. One more time, up and down. And then this next time we'll stay here. Could bring both arms up. And when you feel ready, you can begin to tip forward, sending your right leg out long behind you, touching it down if you need to. Working on leveling out your hips. And into your warrior three, you could grab onto the back of a chair or anything else that you want if you want to work on having a little assistance with your balance here. And then we'll set that right foot back down, come up into warrior one again, and then exhale, folding, planting the hands forward, step back with your right foot, coming up onto your toes, your heel lifts, keeping your right hand planted, just lift your left arm coming up into that twisted lunge. And then lowering that hand back down, stepping your right foot up to meet your left. Just exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And you can step back to your plank or tabletop and just go through a flow if you like. We'll all meet up in downward facing dog. And from here, we're going to move into a warrior two sequence. You can raise your, let's do left leg and pointed this direction. Left leg up into the air. And then you're just going to draw it through, kind of bringing it in towards your nose, arching your back up a little bit to create a little more space, and set it between your hands. If you didn't get there, just walk it forward a little bit more. You're going to plant your right foot down in the back, toes turned out a little bit more to the side. And then when you're ready, you're just going to lead with your right arm and cartwheel your hands open to a warrior two. Hips are a little bit more open here, maybe angled towards the top right corner of your mat or the side of your mat. Maybe adjust your feet. You can check your alignment of your front knee. You can look back at your back arm. Arms kind of at shoulder height in alignment with your body, and then gaze forward over your front fingers. From here, we're going to straighten through the front knee, reverse our arms, dropping the right arm down, the left arm reaches up and over for a reverse triangle. And then as you come forward, your forearm can come down onto your thigh, your right arm can lift up and over for extended side angle. And then we'll inhale, straightening through that front leg, reverse triangle. And then exhale, back to extended side angle. One more time, reversing. And then coming back into that extended side angle. I forgot to tell you here that you might want a block or something like that that you can set your hand onto. So go grab that for a minute if you need it. Otherwise, you can have your left hand on your shin, or maybe like here, I've got my bed if you have a chair or something like that nearby. We're going to explore coming into half moon pose. So for me, I like to have this block to my arm a little bit longer, bring the ground closer. I'm just going to step my right foot in a few hops, and then my right hand, I'll start with it on my hip, and then gradually I'm going to shift my weight into my left foot, bringing that block a little bit further out in front. And then you can work on raising your right leg up. You might raise it up and set it down for today, just gradually working into that sense. If you're having really good balance this morning or today, then you could reach your right arm up and then just set it back down. Nice work. You can set your right foot back, cartwheel your arms open, just coming into your warrior two again, and then swing your right arm front to meet your left. Step your right foot forward. We'll exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward, plant your hands, and then you could go through another flow here if you like. I'm just going to turn myself around on my mat so we're set up for this. I'm set up for this on the other side. So we'll meet up in downward facing dog. And then you'll raise your right foot up to three-legged dog. And then bringing it through your hands, planting your right foot down onto the ground. Your left toes are going to turn out to the side. Your right knee's bent. And then you'll lead with your left arm. Just cartwheel your arms open to your warrior two. And adjusting your stance. Maybe you step your feet a little wider. You can gaze back at your left arm. And then gaze forward. Check your knee is aligned over your second and third toe. Not falling too far in or out. And just kind of slow down too as we move through the flow here so that you can check your knee is tracking nice and even. Okay, we'll get ready to go into that flow. So we'll inhale, straighten the front leg, drop the left arm down, reach the right arm over, and exhale. Reach the left arm up, right arm comes to thigh for extended side angle. Inhaling up to reverse triangle. extended side angle. Inhaling up. Feeling this kind of cartwheeling motion with the arms. Similar to Warrior One when we were doing opposite arms. Building that coordination, making both sides of our brain work here. Now you're going to step your left foot in a little bit. You can bring your left hand to your hip. Grab onto a block or a chair or something in front of you. So we're going to prepare to come into our half moon. So shifting your weight into your right leg, straightening your right leg, lifting the left foot up. Some people do a floating half moon. If you feel you don't need any support under your right hand, you could try that. You can try opening your shoulders a little bit more. Maybe your left arm lifts up. Touching down whenever you need to. This is a practice. Every day we come to our mat, it's a little bit different. Just meet yourself where you're at today. And then you can exhale, set your foot back down behind you, and then coming into your Warrior Two. Again, gazing out over your right fingertips, and then swinging your left arm around to meet your right. Step your left foot up to meet your right foot. We'll exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold forward. Plant your hands, and you can go through a flow here. This will be our last flow. So maybe plank, lowering down, coming up, and then sending hips back to downward facing dog. From here, you can set your knees down and just sit back to a child's pose. Just taking a little breather here. We're going to start to wind our way down, working back on the ground from here. All right, bringing a little more energy into your hands. We'll lift back up. This is a sequence or a posture I like called lightning pose that is a nice transition from standing to the ground. Also really great for strengthening your quadriceps and your hamstrings, making those big muscles in your thighs work. So we'll inhale, arms up, and then exhale, sit the hips back. It's like you're sitting into a child's pose. But as you inhale, you're going to lift all the way up. And then exhale back down. You can feel your leg muscles working as they lift you up and slowly lower you back down. Now we'll lift up this time. We're going to make the brain work a little bit more here. So you're going to keep your right arm long, and as you exhale, you're going to bring your back of your left hand to your low back and turn your face over to the left, bringing the right side of your temples down onto the ground. We'll inhale, both arms will come back up, and then the back of the right hand will go to the low back as just the left arm reaches out long, and you turn your face over to the right. Inhale, back up, and exhale, right arm long, turning your face over to the left. And then one more time, we'll go over to the right. Inhale, both arms up, and then both arms back down. We'll come back up to tabletop, and we're going to get set up for a posture called rabbit pose. This is a nice option for getting a little bit of the benefits of like doing a headstand where you get a little pressure on the top of your head, a little bit of the inversion, but a lot gentler on your body. But if you have high blood pressure, glaucoma, anything like that where you don't want your head below your heart, then you could just skip this posture. Maybe you sit back to a child's pose or just come into kneeling or something like that. So first we're going to start with our hands on the mat here in front of us. You could walk them in towards the knees a little bit more. You're going to tuck your chin in, bend your elbows, and just bring the top of your head to the mat. You can rock forward and back a little bit, just get that sensation of that pressure on the top of your head, putting as much weight into your hands as feels comfortable for you, so you're not, putting too much pressure on your head or your neck. And then we'll inhale back up out of this. We'll come into this one more time. I'm going to give you one other option. If you feel comfortable having your hands not there next to your head, you could tuck your toes under and bring your hands back onto your shins or your heels. Get a really good stretch through your arms and your shoulders with this option here. And then just slowly, again, lower the top of your head down onto the mat. And you can lift up with your hips. Feel that stretch in your arms. A little more stimulation for the top of the head. A few more breaths here. A really good stretch for the bottoms of the feet as well. And then inhaling back up. Untuck your toes, maybe tap them out on your mat. And shake out your hands. And then we're going to come onto our backs. We're going to do a little bit of twisting for the spine here, just starting with the soles of your feet on your mat. Your hands could come out to a T, your arms out from your shoulders, and we're just going to windshield wiper our legs back and forth. As you exhale, let them drop over to one side, and then inhale back to center. They don't have to come all the way to the ground here. We're just gently warming up the spine. And then next time they fall over to the right, we'll stay here for a few breaths. Maybe 5 or 6 breaths. You might turn your face and look down towards your left fingers. On your next inhale, bringing your knees back up through center, and then just letting them drop over to the left. Maybe your face turns right. 5 or 6 breaths here. Inhaling, knees back up to center, or you could drop your knees to the side. We're going to come up to seated. I like to do a little bit of rocking here, so I'll draw my knees in and out a few times, and then hugging the knees. Maybe your hands come behind your thighs. You can just begin to rock along your spine until you get enough momentum to rock yourself up to seated. From here, we're going to do some seated twists, so you can cross your left leg under and your right foot is going to come to the ground. Your right knee is bent and up, and with your left arm you're just going to hug your knee, and your right hand comes behind your back, kind of right by your hip. You might have your hand up on a block if the ground feels far away there. You want to have your spine nice and lifted to create that space for your vertebra to turn. You could explore turning your face from side to side. Maybe you rest with your face over your right shoulder. And then coming back to center, we'll set that up for the other side. So your left foot comes to the ground. Your right leg is just comfortably seated on the mat. Maybe you bring that block next to your left hip to have your arm help you lift your spine up a little taller. And then you can just twist over to the left. Maybe your face turns over your left shoulder, or you might explore turning it back and forth. And then coming back to center, you can uncross your legs. You're going to send your right leg out long, kind of opening it up towards the corner, the right corner, top corner of your mat. The sole of your left foot is just going to come inside that right thigh. You might resettle your sitting bones. And then as you inhale, get that length through your spine. And as you exhale, we're going to turn towards that long right leg. You might inhale your arms up, and then as you exhale, begin to fold forward. Have as much bend in that right knee as you'd like. We'll inhale back up and exhale to fold. Now another option, if that inhaling the arms up is feeling like a lot right now, is that you could just have your hands on your legs, and as you exhale and fold forward, just slide your hands down your leg. Now we'll stay here for maybe 5 or 6 breaths. You can draw your toes in towards your shin. Feel that length through the back of your leg. And then we'll inhale back up and just get that set up on the other side. So sending your left leg out long. The sole of your right foot comes to the inside of your thigh. Resettle your sitting bones. A little bit of a bend in your left knee. And then maybe you inhale your arms up and twist towards your long leg and exhale to fold forward. You might inhale back up again and exhale to fold. Or maybe you inhale, sliding your hands up your leg, and then exhale, sliding them back down. Using the hands like that can be a really good way to build that proprioception, or where you are in space. And we'll just stay here. A few more rounds of breath. And inhaling back up. You can send your right leg long to meet your left. Bring both feet in a little closer together. You want your feet about hip width apart. Resettle your sitting bones. You might even set your hips up on a block or a bolster, maybe a folded blanket. And then we're just going to get ready to do a forward fold. So again, you have the option of sliding your hands down your legs, or maybe inhaling your arms up overhead, and then exhaling to fold. Doing that a few more times, just easing into the stretch. And then eventually we'll stay here, having as much bend in your knees as you'd like. You can draw your toes back in towards your shins. Just letting go of as much tension as you can here, relaxing around your eyes, your jaw, and drop your shoulders a little. And then we'll inhale back up you can bring the soles of your feet to the mat and just let your knees rock from side to side a little bit. Rinse that away. We just have one more posture to do here for our practice today. You can keep your knees bent and just sit your hips a little bit closer to your knees, and you're going to lower down onto your back. We're going to set up to do bridge pose. So once you get settled in, maybe you see if you can touch the backs of your heels with the tips of your fingers, but know that if it's comfortable for you to have your feet a little bit further out, that's just fine as well. We're going to round the shoulder blades under the back a little bit, and then as you're ready, pressing into your feet, begin to lift your hips up off the mat. Your inhale, and as you exhale, slowly lower back down. Take your time. Maybe imagine just lowering one vertebra at a time. And then we'll inhale back up. And exhale, lower back down. Now, if you want, you can challenge your brain a little bit more here. As we inhale, you can bring your arms up overhead. And then exhale back down. And now we can start with a little bit of alternating arm movement. So this time, you can keep your left arm down, just raise your right arm overhead as you lift your hips up. And exhale, lower your right arm as you lower your hips. And inhale, lifting your left arm up as you lift your hips. And exhale, lowering. Now see if maybe you can get your hips and your hand to lower at the same time. This time we'll inhale, right arm up as you lift your hips, and exhale to lower. See if you can time that movement. You have to move your arm a little bit faster than your hips. Inhaling, left arm up, and exhaling to lower. We'll do a few more times, both arms. And then exhale, lower. And we've made it to our final relaxation. So you might just take your feet out a little bit wider. Let your knees drop in towards each other. A little constructive rest. You could turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Or maybe you have one hand on your low belly, one hand over your heart. Just connect with yourself. Maybe connecting with your belly, moving up and down as you breathe. Maybe you can feel your heart beating. You could stay here, or if you like a more traditional Shavasana relaxation, you could send your legs out long. And just let your feet flop open to the sides, arms resting comfortably by your side. And just stay here for a few minutes. welcome to stay here as long as you like. Or if you're ready to move on with your day, you can join me in maybe bringing a little movement to your fingers and your toes. Maybe circling your wrists and your ankles. Could feel good to reach your arms up overhead, maybe point your toes into a full body stretch. And then drawing your knees one and the other in towards your body. Maybe you wrap your arms around, lift your head up, just curling up into a little ball here. Giving yourself a hug and taking a moment of appreciation for yourself, for taking time for your practice. Appreciation for your body and all that it's done for you. As you're ready, you can roll onto your side. Just cradle your head and your arm for a few breaths. And then use your hands pressing back up to seated. Coming back to where we started. But maybe you notice a little bit of shifts in your body or shifts in your breath and your nervous system. I invite you to join me in bringing your hands out to your sides. And then as you inhale, bring your arms up overhead, imagining you're scooping up all this loving, positive, healing energy that we cultivated together. And then draw your hands down to your heart center, bowing to yourself, acknowledging that that light, that love, that energy is always inside of you for you to tap into when you need it. And then we bow to each other, acknowledging that light, that energy exists in each and every one of us. A very simple way to say that in Sanskrit is Namaste. Oh, Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this practice. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.